There is something changing inside you right now, so quietly that you almost missed it. Nothing around you has fully changed. The same people, the same routine, the same life. But inside your heart, it doesn't feel the same anymore. The person you once couldn't stop thinking about no longer controls your emotions the way they used to. The things you once chased so desperately now feel distant, almost meaningless. And this shift, it confuses you because you didn't plan it. You didn't force it. It just started happening. So a part of you begins to wonder, am I losing feelings or am I losing something important? But what if you're not losing anything? What if this is the first sign that something greater is being prepared for you? Because here's a truth most people never understand. Allah doesn't suddenly bring the right person into your life. He prepares your heart first. He slowly removes what would have broken you. He gently detaches you from what was never written. He reshapes your understanding of love without you even realizing it. And the most powerful part is, this preparation happens in silence. No announcement, no clear sign. Just a quiet transformation inside you, so quiet that you might mistake it for emptiness. But it's not emptiness, it's alignment. Because if you ignore this stage, you might run back to what your heart is being freed from and delay what Allah is trying to bring into your life. So pause for a moment and be honest with yourself. This calm you're starting to feel, this detachment, this clarity, what if it's not random? What if this is the moment where Allah is quietly preparing your heart for the love that was always meant for you? The attachments that once ruled your heart begin to break without you forcing them. There was a time when your heart held on too tightly. You kept going back to the same thoughts again and again. You replayed small moments, simple words, even old conversations that no longer mattered. And no matter how much you tried to move on, your heart kept pulling you back. You felt connected to certain people, even when they were not good for your peace, even when they confused you, even when they made you feel unsure, anxious, or emotionally tired. And deep down, you knew it wasn't right. But still, letting go felt impossible. It felt like your heart was tied to something, and no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't break free. You told yourself, I need to stop thinking about them. You tried to distract yourself, to stay busy, to move forward. But the feeling stayed, and that's what made it even harder, because it wasn't just in your mind, it was in your heart. But now, something has changed. Slowly, quietly, without any big moment, that strong attachment is not the same anymore. You're not forcing yourself to detach. You're not fighting your feelings like before. Yet somehow, the grip is weakening. You think about them less. You feel less emotional weight when their name crosses your mind. The urgency, the need, the intensity, it's fading. And sometimes, this confuses you because you didn't decide this. It just started happening. And a part of you wonders, why don't I feel the same anymore? But this is not a loss. This is not you becoming cold or heartless. This is your heart healing and being set free. Because when Allah is preparing you for something pure, He doesn't just bring the right person into your life. He first removes the emotional chains that would stop you from recognizing them. Sometimes those chains are people. Sometimes they are memories. Sometimes they are feelings that stayed longer than they should have, and you don't always have the strength to break them yourself. So Allah breaks them for you, gently, not all at once, not in a way that shocks you, but slowly, over time. He takes away the intensity. He softens the attachment. He removes the control it had over your heart, until one day, you realize you are no longer trapped by it. And the most beautiful part is, you didn't have to force it, because what is not written for you will slowly lose its hold on you, and what is written for you will never require you to lose your peace to keep it. So if you feel this shift happening inside you, don't resist it. Don't run back to what your heart is being freed from, because this is not emptiness. This is space, space that Allah is creating for something that will not confuse you, something that will not drain you, something that will finally feel right. And this is where preparation truly begins. Your standards rise so high that what once attracted you no longer feels right. There was a time when your heart was easily impressed. A little attention felt like care. A few kind words felt like something meaningful. And sometimes, the smallest effort from someone felt like a big deal. You didn't ask for much. You just wanted to feel chosen, to feel seen, to feel like you mattered to someone, so you accepted things that were incomplete. Half effort, mixed signals, inconsistent behavior, and you told yourself, maybe this is enough. But deep inside, it never truly felt right, because your heart was settling for something that didn't fully honor it. But now, something quiet has changed inside you. You're not looking for attention the same way anymore. You don't feel excited by the same things. The words that once impressed you now feel empty if they are not backed by actions. The people you once admired no longer feel aligned with who you are becoming. And the strange part is, you didn't sit down and decide to raise your standards. It happened naturally, without force, without effort. It's like your heart just outgrew what it used to accept. Now, you notice things you didn't notice before. You feel the difference between someone who is serious and someone who is just passing time. You recognize when someone brings peace and when they bring confusion, and instead of chasing the feeling, you step back, because something inside you no longer allows you to settle. This is not arrogance. This is not ego. This is clarity. Because when Allah is preparing your marriage, He doesn't just send you the right person. He first raises your standards so you don't attach yourself to the wrong one. He teaches your heart the difference between what looks good and what is actually good, between what feels exciting and what feels safe, between temporary attention and real intention, and slowly, your heart begins to choose differently. You no longer ignore red flags just to keep someone close. You no longer accept confusion just to feel connected. You no longer lower your values just to make something work. Because deep inside, you start to understand something powerful. The right person will never require you to shrink your standards. They will rise to meet them. And this realization changes everything. Because now, instead of asking, why am I not chosen? You begin to understand, not everyone deserves access to me. And that shift is everything. Because when your standards rise, your entire life begins to filter itself. The wrong people naturally fall away. The wrong connections stop progressing. The wrong energy no longer feels comfortable around you, and this might feel lonely at times. But this loneliness is not a step backward. It is protection. Because Allah is not removing people to leave you empty. He is removing them so you don't give your heart to someone who was never meant to keep it. So if you feel like you are becoming more selective, more aware, more careful with who you allow into your space, don't question it. Don't lower yourself just to feel something familiar again, because this is not you becoming too much. This is you becoming ready, ready for a love that respects you, ready for a connection that is clear, not confusing, ready for something that aligns with your Deen and protects your peace. And when that kind of love arrives, you won't have to question it, because your heart will recognize it, not through excitement, but through certainty. The pain you questioned for so long begins to reveal the protection you never saw. There were moments in your life that didn't make sense. You prayed for certain people, and still they walked away. You hoped for certain outcomes, and still they never happened. You gave your time, your care, your sincerity, and somehow it still ended in silence. And in those moments, it hurt in a way that words cannot fully explain. You asked questions no one could answer. Why did this happen? Why did it end like this? Why did Allah allow me to feel so deeply, just to lose it? And for a long time, it felt like confusion, like something in your story didn't add up. Because when pain comes without explanation, it doesn't just break your heart, it shakes your understanding. You tried to move on, but the questions stayed. You tried to accept it, but it didn't feel complete. It felt unfinished. But now, something inside you is beginning to change. Not suddenly, not all at once, but slowly, quietly. Your perspective is shifting. You begin to look back, not with the same emotion, but with a different kind of understanding. And for the first time, you start to see what you couldn't see before. That what hurt you also protected you, that what left you also saved you, that what didn't work out was not a mistake, it was a form of mercy you didn't recognize at the time. Because if certain people had stayed, they might have taken you further away from your peace. If certain situations had worked, they might have led you into something that would have broken you more deeply later. If certain doors had opened, they might have closed the door to something far better. And this realization is not easy, because it asks you to see your pain differently, not as something that happened to you, but as something that was guiding you, protecting you, repositioning you. And suddenly, the story begins to make sense. Not every detail, but enough for your heart to feel lighter. You realize that Allah was not ignoring your du'as. He was answering them, just not in the way you expected. Because sometimes, the answer to your prayer is not yes. Sometimes, it is removal. Sometimes, it is distance. Sometimes, it is silence. Because Allah sees what you cannot see. He knows what would harm you, even if it looks good to you. And He protects your future, even when it breaks your heart in the present. This is why some endings feel so painful, because they are not just endings, they are redirections. And redirection often comes with discomfort. But that discomfort is not punishment. It is protection in a form you didn't recognize. And now, as your heart begins to understand this, something else begins to happen. The pain loses its weight, not because it never mattered, but because it no longer controls you. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And you begin to feel something deeper. Alhamdulillah, it didn't happen for me. And that shift is where healing becomes real. Because now, you are no longer holding on to the past with confusion. You are releasing it with understanding. You are no longer carrying the pain as a wound. You are carrying it as wisdom. And this is exactly how Allah prepares your heart. He doesn't erase your past. He transforms the way you see it. So it no longer weakens you, but strengthens you. So it no longer traps you, but frees you. And this is when you realize nothing you went through was wasted. Every moment, every tear, every unanswered question was shaping your heart for something that will not break it the same way again. So if you are starting to see your past differently, if the pain is slowly turning into clarity, if the confusion is being replaced with quiet understanding, don't ignore it. Because this is not just healing, this is preparation. Preparation for a love that will not confuse you, a connection that will not leave you questioning your worth, and a future that will finally make sense of everything you once didn't understand. And when that future arrives, you will look back at everything that hurt you and realize it was never meant to stay. It was only meant to guide you to where you were always supposed to be. You stop mistaking intensity for love and start craving a peace you cannot explain. There was a time when you believed love had to feel intense to be real. It had to make your heart race. It had to keep you thinking all day, and sometimes all night. It had to feel like something you couldn't fully control. You thought that constant thinking meant you cared deeply. You thought the emotional highs and lows meant it was something special. And when things felt uncertain, when there was confusion, distance, mixed signals, a part of you believed that was just how love works. Because no one taught you the difference. No one showed you that intensity is not always love. Sometimes it is just attachment. Sometimes it is just emotional dependency. Sometimes it is your heart trying to hold on to something even when it is not good for you. But now, something inside you has changed. You no longer feel drawn to that same emotional chaos. What once felt exciting now feels exhausting. The constant overthinking, the waiting, the emotional ups and downs, it doesn't attract you anymore. In fact, it pushes you away because your heart has started to recognize something deeper, that real love does not disturb your peace. It protects it, and this realization doesn't come suddenly. It grows slowly, through experience, through reflection, through healing. You begin to notice how your body feels around certain people. With some, there is tension. You feel unsure. You feel like you have to guess where you stand. And even if your heart feels pulled toward them, your peace feels disturbed. But with others, Even if there is no strong excitement, there is calm. You don't feel the need to overthink. You don't feel anxious waiting for a response. You don't feel like you are losing yourself just to stay connected. And for the first time, you begin to understand that calm is not boring. Calm is safe. Calm is clear. Calm is real, because the love Allah writes for you is not meant to confuse your heart. It is not meant to make you question your worth. It is not meant to drain your energy just to keep it alive. It is meant to bring you closer to who you truly are and closer to Him. And that kind of love does not feel like a storm. It feels like a place where your heart can finally rest. But to receive that kind of love, your heart must first unlearn what it once believed. It must let go of the idea that love needs to be intense to be meaningful. It must stop chasing feelings, a life Islamic when we reshaat you, that come with anxiety and uncertainty. And this is exactly what Allah is doing within you. He is retraining your heart. He is showing you, through your own experiences, what is not meant for you, so that when what is meant for you arrives, you don't confuse it, you don't overlook it, you don't walk away from it just because it feels different from what you are used to. Because sometimes the love you are meant for will not feel like what you experienced before. It will feel unfamiliar at first because it is peaceful, and your heart is learning to recognize that peace. So if you find yourself walking away from emotional chaos, if you no longer feel attracted to confusion, if your heart is starting to choose calm over intensity, don't question it. Don't go back to what once felt exciting but left you restless, because this is not you losing the ability to feel. This is you learning to feel correctly. This is you preparing for something real, something stable, something clear, something that does not come and go with emotions, but stays with sincerity. And when that kind of love finally reaches you, you won't have to chase it. You won't have to fight for it. You won't have to question it, because your heart already knows what peace feels like. And this time, you will choose it. The need to control when disappears as you begin trusting what Allah has already written. There was a time when your heart was always asking one question: when will it happen for me? You saw others moving forward. You saw people finding love, getting married, building their lives, and a quiet pressure began to grow inside you. You started comparing timelines. You wondered if you were late, if you were missing something, if something was wrong with you. And even when you tried to stay patient, deep inside there was urgency. You made dua again and again. You asked Allah to bring the right person, to open the right door, to finally give you clarity. But along with those duas, there was also restlessness, a feeling that things should happen faster, a feeling that you needed to do more, try more, control more, because waiting felt heavy and uncertainty felt uncomfortable. But now, something inside you has softened, not because you stopped wanting it, but because your heart is no longer chasing it the same way. The urgency is fading, the pressure is quieter, and in its place, something deeper is beginning to grow. Trust, not the kind of trust that is forced with words, but the kind that settles slowly in your heart. You begin to understand something you didn't fully feel before. What is written for you cannot pass you, no matter how late it seems, no matter how many delays you experience. What is meant for you will arrive, and what is not meant for you, no matter how much you try to hold it, will never stay. This realization changes the way you see everything. You stop chasing timelines. You stop measuring your life against others, because you begin to understand your story is being written differently, carefully, precisely, with a timing that is not random, but perfect. And suddenly, waiting no longer feels like punishment. It feels like preparation, because you start to see that you are not just waiting for something to happen. You are being shaped for it. Your heart is being refined. Your understanding is growing. Your standards are rising. And all of this is happening for a reason, because if what you are asking for arrived too early, you might not recognize it. You might not protect it. You might not be ready to receive it in the way it deserves. So Allah delays it, not to deny you, but to align you with it. And this is where your heart begins to change deeply. You stop asking, why is it taking so long? And you begin to feel something more peaceful. It will come at the right time, and that feeling brings a kind of calm you didn't have before. You no longer feel the need to rush into something just to fill the gap. You no longer feel afraid of missing out. You no longer feel like you have to force connections to make your story move forward. Because deep inside, you know what Allah has written for you is already on its way. It is not lost. It is not delayed by mistake. It is being prepared just as you are being prepared. So you begin to let go, not of your desire, but of your need to control how and when it happens. And this is not weakness. This is strength, because it takes strength to trust when you cannot see. It takes strength to wait when everything around you is moving. It takes strength to believe when you don't have clear answers. But this is exactly the kind of heart Allah is preparing. A heart that does not panic, a heart that does not rush into the wrong things, a heart that trusts His timing more than its own feelings. So if you feel this shift happening inside you, if you are becoming more patient, more calm, more trusting, don't ignore it. This is not you settling. This is you aligning, because when the right moment finally arrives, it will not feel late. It will feel perfect, and you will understand why everything had to happen exactly the way it did. And in that moment, you won't just receive what you prayed for, you will be ready for it. And that is the real preparation. Your heart detaches from people as your connection with Allah becomes your true center. There was a time when your heart depended on people more than you realized. Their attention made you feel secure. Their presence made you feel complete. Their words had the power to lift you or break you. You didn't always notice it, but your emotional state was often tied to them. If they were close, you felt calm. If they became distant, your peace disappeared. And slowly, without even realizing, you began to build your sense of worth around how others treated you. You looked for reassurance in their messages. You looked for clarity in their actions. You looked for comfort in their presence. But no matter how much you received, it was never fully enough, because the heart that depends on people will always feel unstable. But now, something deep inside you is changing. It's not loud, it's not sudden, but it's real. You are no longer attached to people the same way. You still care. You still value connection. But your heart is not leaning on them like before. You don't wait for their attention to feel okay. You don't lose yourself when they pull away. You don't feel empty when someone is not there. And this shift is powerful because something else is taking its place. Your connection with Allah. You begin to turn to Him, not just when you're hurting, but even when you're calm. Your du'as feel more personal. Your salah feels more meaningful. Your heart feels softer when you remember Him. And slowly, something changes in your priorities. You begin to seek peace from Allah instead of chasing it from people. You begin to rely on Him instead of depending on others to fill your heart. And this doesn't mean you stop loving people. It means your love becomes healthier. Because now, you are no longer loving from a place of need. You are loving from a place of completeness. And that changes everything. Because when your heart is centered around Allah, no one can shake you the same way anymore. People can come and people can go, but your peace stays. Your worth stays. Your identity stays. Because it is no longer built on something temporary, it is built on something eternal. And this is exactly how Allah prepares your heart for marriage. Because the strongest relationships are not built on two people depending on each other completely. They are built on two people who are already connected to Allah. Two hearts that don't lose themselves in each other, but bring each other closer to Him. And for that to happen, your heart has to learn how to stand on its own first. It has to learn how to feel full without constant validation. It has to learn how to feel peace without needing someone else to create it. And this is what you are experiencing right now. You are being detached from people so you can be attached to Allah, not because people don't matter, but because they are not meant to be your center. Allah is, and when He becomes your center, everything else in your life begins to align around Him. Your choices become clearer, your boundaries become stronger, your heart becomes calmer, and suddenly, you are no longer afraid of losing people because you have found something greater. So if you feel this shift, if you are becoming less dependent on others, if your heart is turning more toward Allah, don't resist it. Don't think you are becoming distant or disconnected. You are becoming grounded. Grounded in something that will never leave you. Because when Allah becomes your source of peace, you stop chasing it in places where it was never meant to stay. And this is when your heart becomes truly ready. Ready to love without losing itself. Ready to give without becoming empty. Ready to receive without becoming dependent. And when that kind of heart meets the right person, it doesn't create confusion. It creates balance. It creates stability. It creates a love that is not just emotional, but spiritual. A love that doesn't pull you away from Allah, but brings you closer to Him. And that is the kind of love your heart is being prepared for. A quiet, unshakable certainty settles inside you that what is meant for you is closer than ever. There was a time when your heart needed constant signs. You wanted something clear, something obvious, something that would tell you, yes, this is happening. You looked for confirmations in small things. You searched for meaning in every situation. You questioned every delay, every silence, every change, because not knowing felt uncomfortable. It made you feel uncertain. It made you feel like you were waiting without direction, and that uncertainty created restlessness inside you. But now, something is different. The need for constant reassurance is fading. You're not searching the same way anymore. You're not trying to control every outcome or understand every detail. And instead of confusion, there is a quiet calm growing inside you. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady. It's a feeling you can't fully explain, yet you can feel it clearly. A sense that something is aligning, that even if you can't see the full picture, your life is moving exactly where it needs to go. And this feeling is not based on proof. It's not coming from what you see around you. It's coming from something deeper. It's coming from trust. A trust that didn't exist in this way before. Because before, you needed to see things to believe them. Now, you believe, even when you can't see, and that shift is powerful. Because this kind of certainty does not come from people. It does not come from situations. It comes from Allah. It is something He places in your heart when you are being prepared for something real. Because when your heart is constantly anxious, constantly questioning, constantly unsettled, it is not ready yet. But when your heart becomes calm, when the fear begins to fade, when the overthinking becomes quiet, that is when something has changed inside you. That is when your heart is becoming ready, ready to receive without fear of losing, ready to trust without needing constant proof, ready to move forward without hesitation. And this is why this certainty feels so different. It doesn't rush you. It doesn't pressure you. It doesn't make you feel like you are running out of time. Instead, it slows you down. It makes you patient. It makes you peaceful, even in the unknown. Because deep inside, you begin to feel something simple, yet powerful. What is meant for me is already coming. Not in a desperate way, not in a way that makes you chase it, but in a way that allows you to breathe and trust. And this is how Allah prepares your heart. He replaces your fear with certainty. He replaces your confusion with calm. He replaces your urgency with trust, so that when what you prayed for finally arrives, you don't meet it with anxiety. You meet it with peace, and you recognize it, not because it feels intense, but because it feels right, because it aligns with everything your heart has been learning. So if you feel this quiet certainty inside you, don't ignore it. Don't question it just because it is not loud, because not everything meaningful comes with noise. Some of the most important changes happen in silence. This is not you settling. This is not you giving up. This is you trusting at a level you didn't reach before. This is you understanding without needing full explanation. And this is the final stage of preparation, because when your heart reaches this place, you are no longer chasing what is meant for you. You are ready to receive it. And when it comes, it will not feel sudden. It will not feel confusing. It will feel familiar in the most peaceful way, like something your heart was always being prepared for. And in that moment, you will realize this certainty you felt before was never random. It was Allah quietly preparing you for what was always meant to be yours. So if you've been feeling these changes inside you, the detachment, the clarity, the calm you can't fully explain, don't ignore it. You are not losing love. You are not becoming distant. You are not falling behind. You are being prepared in a way only Allah understands. Every moment that confused you, every person that left you, every delay that made you question everything was never random. It was all shaping your heart for something that will not break it the same way again. So don't rush this process. Don't go back to what once disturbed your peace just because it feels familiar. Because what Allah is preparing for you will not require you to chase it. It will not leave you confused. It will not make you question your worth. It will come with clarity. It will come with peace. It will come at a time when your heart is finally ready to receive it. So trust what you cannot see. Trust the silence. Trust the way your heart is changing, even when you don't understand it fully. Because Allah is not delaying your marriage, He is perfecting it. And when it finally reaches you, you will not feel like you missed out. You will feel like you were protected until the right moment. May Allah bring into your life a love that protects your peace, a spouse that strengthens your deen, and a connection that brings you closer to Him, not further away. May He remove anything from your life that confuses your heart and replace it with something that brings you clarity and barakah. And may He grant you a marriage that feels like sukoon, that feels like safety, that feels like home for your soul. Ameen. If this message reached your heart at the right time, take a moment and write Ameen in the comments. And if you are learning to trust Allah's timing, stay connected, because sometimes the reminder you needed is part of the preparation itself.